viewers, and thanks for joining us on another interesting edition of Point Blank. I'm your regular anchor, Demola Alalade. On tonight's program, we're going to be looking at various issues affecting Nigerians in diaspora, especially those of us in the UK. And on the program tonight, I have an important personality on the program tonight. My guest tonight is a true leader. He is a true leader to many of us here in the diaspora. He is an IT professional, and he is a Nigerian like myself and yourself. My guest tonight is the chairman, Central Association of Nigerians in the UK, and he looks after the interests of all Nigerians in the UK. He is Mr. I beg your pardon, he is Chief Bimbo Robert Folaya. Mr. Folaya, thanks for coming on Point Blank tonight. We do really appreciate your taking your time out to come and speak to us today on Point Blank.
Thank you.
I also have with me, obviously, I have my amiable co-anchor, Bisoye Soyawan. Bisoye, thanks for coming on the program again. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to be going straight to the topic of discussion today. But before we go, I'm just going to implore our viewers out there who are watching that Mr. Folaya will be answering questions from you, and the line will be opened very soon for you to call in to ask Mr. Folaya any questions that you might feel that might be bothering your mind about issues affecting Nigerians here in the UK. Mr. Folaya, obviously people know you as the chair of Kano. That's already been established. But obviously people will want to know a little bit more about your personality, who you are, where you come from, and your early days in life.
I was born in Kaduna in Nigeria. My parents were born in Lagos, but their own parents were born in Ekiti. So I'm from originally Ekiti State. And that's where they call Ijero Ekiti, even though my mom lived all of her life in Ebutimeta in Lagos. So I schooled in Lagos, schooled in Kaduna, schooled in Ibadan, schooled in Lagos, and then completed my my secondary school, actually in a boarding house in Ekiti. Then I went to the University of Ife. I graduated with a degree in English Studies. I worked in the bank briefly, with People's Bank mainly. We started People's Bank together with Dr. Tashola and Maria Shokeno. And I was project manager at the time, launching the branches all over Lagos State. Then I went into the finance sector and I worked as a GM for Treasury and Finance Company. When I got married, and then I became an activist also, right from the university. So I was chairman of the June 12 movement after MK Abiola's election was annulled. And that was what actually brought me to the UK. Because of that annulment, some of us had to leave Nigeria. Since then, I've converted. I went to Greenwich University to do a conversion course into information systems and computing. And I've become an IT consultant for the last 17 years. Moved from different sectors of the IT industry, from networking to software development, quality assurance, project management, program management, configuration management, and so many other aspects of IT. So I'm a CITP, what they call Chartered IT Professional. And 3.5 years ago, I got elected as chairman of the Central Association of Nigerians in the UK. This is not a paid position. It's a voluntary role. So I still do the IT business, and I'm into properties as well.
Thank you for that, Mr. Folaya. As the chairman, Central Association of Nigerians in the UK, what exactly is the focus of Kano?
The focus of Kano is to unite the Nigerian community. Some 6.5 years ago, when Dr. Christopher Kolade came to the UK, he met hundreds of Nigerian organizations. and every one of these organizations claimed to represent the Nigerian community. And he had difficulty reaching out to the community. He felt it was difficult to really know how to connect with the community. So he invited all the leaders of these associations to the High Commission. I was then president of the Association of Nigerian IT Professionals in the UK. So he invited all of us to the High Commission and asked us to come together and form an umbrella body. The umbrella body, in a way that the umbrella body is the bridge or the link to all these separate organizations. So we have the professional bodies like MANSAC, which is medical associations. You know, we have the British Nigeria Law Forum, we have the ICANN UK, we have the Engineering Forum. Every single state from Nigeria also has their own association too. Lagos, Ibadan, Oyo State, Kaduna, Rivers, Imo, Ekiti, Kparagbo. So all of these groups, so we have the professional, we have the cultural, we have the women, youth, different organizations. We've become so many in the UK that we have so many organizations. So all of these organizations fall under KANUK. So KANUK, the role of KANUK is to provide a voice for the Nigerian community in a single voice. So rather than all of us speaking with different tongues, we all come together under a platform, we debate, agree on the way forward, and that's the major role. Also, because Nigerians have lived in this country for so long, we have our children, and many of our children are, beginning to come into public life and all that. There's a need for a body to help look after the welfare of Nigerians, also to help them with their aspirations. So it's not as easy as I've made it, because KANUK is work in progress. But this is what KANUK was set up to do. Yes.
So how would you describe the strength of the organization at this minute in terms of the membership?
In terms
Just looking at it from when it all started, because you had loads of organizations together, but coming under one umbrella, how would you describe the strength of the organization?
I'll say that the strength has become so heavy, particularly in the last 2 years, when initially, my predecessors in office, they tried to bring in as many organizations as possible, because you need to be registered to be a member of KANUK. But when we came on board, we then increased the number of organizations. Now we've started reaching out to corporate associations also, because if you have a charity or you have a company, you could also be an associate member, which means that if there's a need for your corporate body to connect with Nigeria or with the High Commission or with the government, you could then talk to us in KANUK, and we can provide some form of support or institutional backing. So the organization has become so huge now that we have close to 300 organizations, not up to 300, but close to 300 organizations that are registered members of KANUK. And I'm talking about the major organizations, the umbrella body of medical doctors, umbrella body of accountants, umbrella body of engineers, umbrella body of IT consultants, the major organizations, nursing association. You have virtually every single state that has an association in the UK is a member of KANUK. So, but we're still, KANUK is working in progress. It's still ongoing, we're still going out.
So there's no limits to where you're going to stop?
No, we can never stop.
If an association comes up tomorrow or springs up tomorrow,
yes,
they have to register under KANUK?
We only just have conditions that your membership has to be this many for you to be qualified. But it's work in progress. So we keep registering as long as we have Nigerians forming organizations.
What about Nigerian political parties in the UK?
Yes.
Can they register under KANUK as well?
They can register as well. All the political parties too, they're members of KANUK. Yes.
So, I mean, you've been, how long has KANUK been in existence now?
Since 2005. So that's about, going to about 8 years now.
Wow.
Yes.
So, and how would you describe, what sort of impact have you had as the organization made here in the UK?
I think we've made a lot of impact. We've been able to reach out to Nigerians in the UK we've been able to mobilize people for good of both Nigerians that live in this country and even for Nigeria. And I can start to give you several instances. We've organized a lot of activities. Family Fun Day, we've organized seminars, we've organized information sessions. When Nigerians have issues or problems, there are certain problems you take to the High Commission that they're not really equipped to deal with. Not because they can't do it, but because they're not, that's not supposed to be within their remit. Yeah. Or they don't even have the resources to do it. So they say, okay, why not talk to your umbrella body? Because it is you Nigerians that live in the UK. This is an area that you should be dealing with. So, so we have a legal department that also tries to help when some Nigerians fall into one or two problems, trouble and all that. So we provide legal services for them. Let me give a very good example. Last 2012, when we had the Olympics, we successfully organized a 1,000-man dinner party for the Olympics team. I know that they didn't perform very well, but every single one of the athletes that came, they said, look, people like Falilat and Egbunike, they said they've been to about 3-4 Olympics. They have never had that kind of experience where we gathered 1,000 Nigerians to, welcome them and, make them feel welcome in the UK. So these are the sort of things we're doing. But Kanok is work in progress. It's something that I'm hoping that by the time I drop my, finish with my term, hopefully, because we're trying to mobilize the young ones now to come in. Our children are growing up now, so people like our children are becoming, they're graduating from school, university. Yes. They are the ones that should actually lead Kano and take us to the next level. And that's where we're heading to. But we are just laying the foundation. Do you have some of them now coming on board? We have some of them members of the organization. Like yes. The last election that we had about 3 months ago, we successfully mobilized some youths, at least 2 of them to join the executive council, and they're doing very well. These are the future of Nigerians in the UK. So, and the youths are coming up. Actually, this is my last project. I'm working seriously on the youth. Between this year and next year, we're lining up a lot of activities that we mobilize, because the youth are still staying off, from the mainstream Nigerian community. But we're bringing them on board. We're saying, look, you are the new kids on the block. This is your country. People like us came from Nigeria. You were born here. So you should come and lead and take Nigerian communities to the next level. So we've started that. It's a silent revolution, but I'm sure that by the time we're handing, over to the next, I'm telling you, it's going to be a completely different story.
Okay. Going back to the question where you say you help Nigerians that have issues.
Yeah.
Recently there was an open letter written to the President Goodluck by Nigerians detained in prison.
Okay.
So I don't know. Is it because obviously if they know about Kanok, they would have written to Kanok or maybe contacted somebody in Kanok. But obviously because they don't have this information, they have to write like an open letter to President Goodluck. Or when you see such things, do you step in? Do you intervene?
We do intervene, but also because this is a very delicate area, we try to separate. There are 2 issues. There are 2 things we should be looking at. If somebody is committed an offense, we have no role whatsoever to play. They have to just serve their time. If you break the law in any part of the world, I'm sorry, we can't help you. You just have to pass through the process. But where somebody is being maltreated or there's miscarriage of justice, then we have the legal department. We work with the Nigerian High Commission. Immediately we hear about such cases, we get up and we start to work on it. So those who have written to Mr. President, for example, I don't know why they did that, whether perhaps there was some kind of miscarriage of justice, but we never heard about it. Anytime we hear about it, we step in, we bring in our solicitor. We have the British Nigeria Law Forum, and they provide services free of charge. So all we do is that our legal advisors, most of the time, are usually from the BNLF. That's what they're called. So they tell, when we have issues, we take it to them, they start looking at it, and then we resolve some. Some we discover that, it was actually because the person, you know, committed some offense for which they're supposed to really serve
their time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our viewers, so, I'm sure many of you are trying to get across to Mr. Folaya to ask your questions about issues that might be bothering your mind as you know, Nigerians living here in the UK. The numbers to call is being scrolled on the screen, so you can call in now and ask your excuse me, and ask your questions. The lines are open now for you to make your calls. Mr. Folaya, you said earlier on that this organization it's a voluntary organization.
Yes.
So many people will want to know how you fund this organization. Is it because I've heard so many speculations that the federal government is the one, you know, kind of funding this organization? Is that the case?
No. Kanuk is actually funded by the executives, mainly. For you to register, you need to pay some registration fee, which is, wait for it, £50. And for you to have a delegate in Kanuk, your delegate pays £50 per year, so which is rubbish money. But most of the activities that we carry out,
sorry to cut you short. That £50,
yeah,
is it just to join Kanuk? Is it just to register?
The entire association, yet for you to register as an association of 40 people or 20 people, you pay £50 registration fee.
Okay. Is there any other fee that you pay after £50?
No. But you will have a delegate in Kano, and your delegate pays £50 per year. So which means as an organization, you're probably paying £100 in a year. So the £100 in a year, these are the kind of money that we use for other things. Occasionally we have seminars, we have events that we want to do, and this money is used for it. But we receive no penny from the High Commission, we receive no penny from the federal government, and we receive no penny from anybody. Actually, most of the activities of Kano are donated by the Executive Council. So people like myself, in order to do what we are doing, I'll be in Manchester this coming weekend just to celebrate the independence with the Nigerian community in Manchester. I'll have to lodge in an accommodation there. I'll have to travel all the way to Manchester, and I have to dip my hand to my pocket. Because when you complain, the people say to you, oh, but you saw it, why did it go in? So this is what we're doing. But a lot of people out there, they don't know. They probably feel that there's some money coming in from federal government. No, we don't get any payment from anyone. Although we're moving, what we want to set up is to have an organization that is well-funded, properly funded. So we're working on it, but the beneficiaries will be the youths that are coming in, definitely not our own generation.
Now we've got. I know you said the Kanuk is the umbrella body of all organizations.
Yes.
We've also got some other similar organizations like the NIDO and the likes of NIDO. What's the difference between Kanuk and NIDO? Because both of them looks like they're doing the same sort of thing.
No, they're not. NIDO was set up by the federal government to look after the welfare, no, not even welfare, to be a bridge, to harmonize our professionals. So NIDO is focused on professionals, whereas Kanuk looks after every single Nigerian, whether professional or non-professional. As long as you're Nigerian, you are. And then in NIDO, you can be a member of NIDO as an individual, but you can't be a member of Kanuk as an individual. It is only the associations that are members of Kanuk. So NIDO itself is an associate member of Kanuk. Okay. So Kanuk is an umbrella. It's like the federal government, the father of every organization. But whereas we have professional bodies that are members, we have cultural bodies that are members. So as long as you're a Nigerian, you're a member of Kanuk. Well, technically, even if you're not registered, you're ordinarily a member of Kanuk.
Automatically a member.
Just the same way some people are Christians or Muslims, but they don't go to church or mosque. So, but the church is there. Oh, I was born into the Catholic faith, but I don't go to church. you're still a Catholic.
Then I was just going through the website earlier on, and I found like a news section. And what I found there, I found a lot of news from Nigeria. But I'm thinking, why not news about Nigerians in the UK? Because there's a lot of social websites or social media that we get information about Nigeria from anyway. So I think having news about Nigerians in the UK, what is happening to them, I think that would be
so that those at home can read the news about what's happening in the UK.
I think that is what needs to be there, because all the
Thank
news
you. That's what we started with.
Nigerian
We started with this some few years back, and that's why I said Kanok is work in progress. We came in with so much ambition.
Right.
We wanted to conquer the world. We wanted to turn things around for the Nigerian community in the UK. Unfortunately for us, we didn't have enough resources to continue. So that website is actually obsolete. We're reworking it. Now, we're reworking it in the sense that we have 15 executive members in Kano, and each one of them are 9 to 5 sort of people, including myself. So we need to feed our family, we need to go to work. By the time they get back from work, it's difficult to do any extra work. But we're still putting in extra energy, to put things in place. Even the website, I've had to be working on it in the last 3 days. So I'll go to an event, represent the Nigerian community somewhere, make a speech, come back late in the night, and then work on the website for another 1.5 hours up till 2. So, and that's why I said the Kanuk is work in progress. It's a difficult organization to manage. Difficult in the sense that in the future, we should be looking at having paid chairman and general secretary, people that can actually commit all of their, not me, I will never do that anyway, but that's the target for the future. Right. We should have a general secretary or a chairman or a PRO that is, or at least two that are fully paid, so that they are dedicating all of their time into it. But because we haven't got the resources, it means I have to use my money to help the community, use my time, and then still get abused by 1 or 2 people who don't know. But at the same time, just continue to. So that's where we are. In the past, we used to have personalities of the week. Every week, we pick a Nigerian who is doing very well, and the purpose of it was to mobilize our youth, and also to publicize what we are doing in the UK. Because many people don't know that Nigerians are doing so well in this country. In fact, people don't know.
True.
We started, there was a time we started picking an individual every week, and we were overwhelmed with the vast number of Nigerians who are so excellent in all of their endeavors. A lot of people feel that, Nigerians, because of the energy that they see in us, they feel that because of the noise that's been made about a few people that commit crimes, they think that's where we are. So we then realized that every week we were doing this until we didn't have enough energy to continue. So that's been changed now. That's going to be changed into no longer personalities of the week, but that will become personalities that because we can't afford to do it on a weekly basis. For you to do that means that you need to upload new pictures. You need to understand how to work on the website and all that. So we're getting there. We will get there gradually. So all of these suggestions too, they are very welcome. We should be updating with information about what's going on in the UK.
Yes.
I'm sure many of our viewers out there are also eager to make their own contributions and give you suggestions on how to move kind of forward.
And we need help as well. We need help from the community. We want people to know that Kanok is their own baby. It belongs to all Nigerians in the UK. It's my predecessor left office 2.5 years ago, and I'm going to be leaving office February 2015. So it is the only organization where nobody can be there for too long. You are there for a particular period. So we need help. People have to know that this is their own organization.
Also, is there do you have a place, an office where Nigerians can go for information or anything, or is just a website? Or is there a
No, we have an office in Surrey, but we're moving away from the office, so there's some work going on now. So some people are donating an office. You know.
Okay. So for now, for any information, they just need to go to the website.
Go to the website. We have emails, we have phone numbers, and information about how you can reach us.
Can you just tell our viewers what the website is? Because I thought you said the website was down.
No, it wasn't down.
Or was upside.
It's just a little bit not there, not up to date. But
Okay.
it's www.canuk, canuk.org.uk. canuk.org.uk.
I actually thought you were going to do my organ talk there.
I didn't want to take that.
I was so
because
scared,
I
you know.
I didn't want to mess it up.
Honestly, you reminded me too. I thought you were doing the AIT. Was it AIT? I thought you were doing those guys to me. I was wondering. You put it on the spot.
Mr. President Goodluck Jonathan
Yes.
recently set up a committee on National Dialogue Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm aware that a program is being put together here in the UK
Mm-hmm.
called Diaspora National Dialogue Conference Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe you're among people who are organizing this event. If you can throw more light into what this event is all about.
Yes, so many people have called me today to ask me the same question. Actually, this is an event being put together by Ben TV. But we've been invited.
Okay.
So it's a platform for Nigerians to come and hear their views, discuss about the problems in Nigeria and provide solutions. So we're completely behind it, even though we're not the organizers. But it's in line with what we promote. Dialogue. We need to talk. We need to understand ourselves better.
Okay. I mean, when you say dialogue,
Yeah.
we already know there's so many Nigerians out in the UK. Some of the things that the Nigerians in the UK are yearning for is how they're going to be participating in the election process in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of doing to see that Nigerians here in the UK have an opportunity to vote in their leaders in the coming election in 2015?
Canuk joined forces with NIDO Worldwide. You have the NIDO Worldwide in the different continents, in America, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa. And then we have a group called NIDAN, which is Nigerians in Diaspora Alliance Network. Those are Nigerians who are already from the diaspora who are settled back home. Then we have the ANID, Association of Nigerians in Diaspora. Four major organizations, and Canuk. Four major organizations who are like umbrella bodies all over the world. We came together in Abuja, had a proper meeting about how to promote this. And we've been working with Abike Dabiri to ensure that this is passed and it becomes law. Now the problem is that they've just suddenly realized that this may involve changing of the constitution, which is another long process. So this is ongoing. This is something we've been working on to ensure that Nigerians in diaspora will be able to vote in 2015. People don't like to hear this, but the bad news is that this is not going to work out in 2015. It is a thing that may potentially happen after this next election because of the process.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of logistics that needs to be put in place.
Yeah.
And it's really, really difficult to put it in place immediately. So it will take some time.
What are some of those difficulties that you guys, I mean, at the meeting, you highlighted that could be the possible, how would I put it? Things that will impact on the, Nigerians being able to vote here in the UK.
Well, obviously, we try to make it look simple to them because we were fighting for Nigerians to be able to vote. And what we did was that we researched a few countries in Africa that allow their diaspora bodies to vote. We highlighted some of these countries, and but they came back to us and said, look, those countries are not like Nigeria. For example, you're looking at small countries where the population is just about 2 million or 3 million, and the political situation is not really as tense as that of Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then we highlighted the fact that if Nigerians in diaspora are able to vote, it means that Nigerians who live in this country can also aspire to become governor in Nigeria.
Yeah, but why not?
Yeah, so that's what it means. It means that we will have people who can go into Nigeria and become senators. And because these guys have tasted proper democracy, they will add serious value to the politics in Nigeria. Unfortunately, also, we need to be realistic that this is a little bit, we're still far from it, from there. Still far because the logistics is simply not going to be that easy. It is something that takes time to plan. And that's my understanding of it.
Okay.
Well, I'm even thinking that is until we reach a certain level of stability, then I think it will work. You know.
Yes. At the moment, elections are not really free in Nigeria. And then how do you control it when you take it out of the country? These are things that we need to put in place. How many countries do we start with? Are we doing the whole world? Nigerians are scattered in almost all over the globe.
Yeah.
Do we start with the US and the UK and just a few selected countries? And if we do that, how can we say that it's no longer free and fair? Because it means that you are, selecting those who can vote based on which countries they are living in.
Yeah, well, that's why they have the Nigerian high commissions in all those places. They should be able to utilize the officials there to conduct the election.
Yeah.
That is true, but don't forget that there's also the issue of, to get Nigerians in diaspora to vote, you potentially have to change the constitution, which is another long process. So it means that those of us who are clamoring for Nigerians to vote in the diaspora, we should be able to go around at least 2/3 of Nigerian states in Nigeria to convince them to pass the motion, and then it goes to the National Assembly. But we haven't got the resources. So we've been talking about Kanuk not even being able to look after just to look after its welfare in the UK. Now we're looking at going all the way to Nigeria to convince the states. It's not very easy. But if Nigerians in diaspora are really serious about voting, then we will be ready to put our foot where our mouth is.
Whichever way.
Whichever way. But if Nigerians in this country trust ourselves so much and we say, let's contribute a pound each, even if 100,000 people put a pound each on the table, we have 100,000 pounds. So we have enough money to use to achieve some of the things that we need to achieve. But we're in a situation where nobody is even ready to give their time, nobody is ready to give their money, except a few that volunteer. So that's why I said we're still a long way. And my prayer is that perhaps our children who look at things differently, they're not too insular, like my own generation that came from Nigeria. Most of the time we're looking after our mortgage, we're looking after our family, and we're thinking of what we can also take back home.
Yeah.
And because of that, we don't want to be bothered. Oh, he's doing, I know the number of my friends who call me and say, Bimbo, what is wrong with you, Bimbo? In fact, one of my friends actually said it to me openly, and he said, something must be wrong with Bimbo, because some years past, this guy knew I was buying, flats all over the UK in those days when we started IT. And then I'll go to all Birmingham, go to all of this. But suddenly it stopped. And he realized that Bimbo was not doing his business as he used to do. And he's wondering, why are you spending so much of your time, working on this sort of thing? So that's the way we still think. We're not, even those who are doing it.
But would you blame them? Because when they see the way things are in Nigeria, they feel things are not working. So why are you putting in your time to do that?
Exactly.
That's
exactly the way they see it.
But at the same time, we still need to change our mindset, because we can't keep thinking that way.
No.
So somebody has to do it. Like you're doing it, you're encouraging other people, and hopefully more people will join, and our way of thinking will change.
Exactly.
So I think the key is not just to stop trying.
I'm telling you, my major challenge is how to mobilize the community behind what we are doing. If we're able to get we get awards all the time. I just got an award over the weekend which my son had to travel to the US to get it for me today, and he arrived today. There's another one lined up for this next weekend. And we get this sort of accolades from the community, but we want people to get their hands dirty too. People to say, okay, this is what we can contribute. We're donating this money, or we're donating this time. I remember sometimes that people complain to me about our website. And a lot of people call me on the phone on our website, oh, we need to update the information. I'm an IT professional, we help you, and we sit on it. And guess what? And that's it.
That's it.
And you start to chase them, you can't get them. And people promise, but they're unable to deliver. So there are just a few who are doing it until we get to a level where we can mobilize more people. But I also see a shortcut, and that shortcut is actually to mobilize our youths, our children, because they're not as materialistic as we are. Now, I'll give you an example. I sent my son traveled on my behalf, gave him some money. He came back with all the change, all the money he didn't spend, just every single penny up to the last cent.
Give it back to you.
Give them back to me. You know, but you know our generation, we will never do that.
You can't try with them.
You will never do
Never. You won't even get any change back. What's your view on the National Constitutional Conference?
Overdue. Thank God it's now here. I'm so happy that we're having it. It's an opportunity. There's so much bottled up anger amongst Nigeria. Has never been this divided. Ever since I've known Nigeria, this is the first time I can see the Igbos quarreling with the Yorubas, the Ijos quarreling with the Northerners quarreling with the different people angry against each other. Have one anger or the other. We need to get to a level where every one of us, we can sit around the same table and talk about the issues, and it helps. It helps. So the national conference is a fantastic opportunity for Nigerian ethnic nationalities to sit down and say, these are the things that we don't like about this union, and then we can all agree or disagree, and then agree to move forward. So that's the way you can form a nation. If you don't form a nation and you keep talking about unity, people are disillusioned. They are unhappy. Look at the politicians, own everything in Nigeria now. There are people that want to go. Lecturers are suffering in Nigeria. We need to have a system where the lecturers can sit down and face it and ask simple questions. Why is a councillor earning more salary than a professor? Why is the local government chairman earning more salary than? These are the sort of things we need to talk about. The local government system in Nigeria. Why should we have more local governments in certain parts of the country more than, these are the sort of questions we need to ask and come to a sort of agreement and move forward. So it's a fantastic idea.
But I've also heard from people saying that, Nigeria will break up in 2015. Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, some of the people that said Nigeria will break up, eventually their own country started breaking up before Nigeria. Look, take the example of Libya. Gaddafi said that Nigeria was going to break up. And that was actually, I think, the second year that they had a problem. I don't think Nigeria is too interwoven. Yeah. We're too interlocked, too interwoven. Imagine an Ibadan without an Igbo man. Or imagine Lagos without an Igbo man. Without an Hausa man. Just imagine, even my village without an Hausa man.
I don't think any state within Nigeria can survive.
No, we
all want to eat this
exactly.
Look, we want to eat this
Obalende will be empty.
Look at Obalende will be empty. Look at Lagos State. Look at the Ijos. Look at the Shekiris. We're too interwoven. You see, we're going through challenges, but I can assure you, I'm very optimistic that we're going to overcome it. We will overcome.
I believe so too.
I don't think Nigeria will ever break up. Because
as the leader of Kanuk in the UK,
yeah,
how are you going to see that Nigerians, whether the Hausa, the Igbos, organize an event where we can all come together. Yeah. And do something similar like that?
Yes, we have some plans. We're planning some things now in the next few months. We bring Nigerians together to. I've been talking to all the ethnic leaders in the UK, Ohanize, Arewa, Egbeomo, Yoruba, Oduduwa movement, the Ijaw People's Association, a lot of groups like that, I'm having discussions with them. We need to sit down. I'm actually calling all the political parties too, so that we can all have a proper discussion. And we're going with the same voice to the Ben TV program, the one you mentioned. I want to talk to them even before then, so that we harmonize our thoughts. And what we need to do as diasporans is to see ourselves as a bloc, and not allow the politicians in Nigeria to divide us. Because we're a very major force, and we're treated like second-class Nigerians. That's my experience of the way Nigerians are treated. Nigerians from the diaspora.
You mean back home?
Back home, I'm telling you, this is the experience, and I've seen so many people come back from Nigeria saying the same thing. That Nigerians, when you try to break into the political system, they make you feel like, what do you want here? After all, you live in the diaspora. And then I've been telling them also that we're not second hand, we're second to none. We're Nigerians. You know?
Don't you think it's a bit odd if after living here for a very long time and the only thing they want to go and do back home is to play politics? You know, anybody would react that, who are you? Where are you coming from?
But the question is this: why not play politics if they want to play? If they are skilled, let me give you an example. We have Nigerians who are over 40 who are councillors here. But
really, politics is about the people. So I think they should give time to actually know the people they are going to rule, or that they want to start making policies about.
But they should be given the time also to know those people.
Exactly.
If the councillor, I have a councillor there, who is a deputy mayor, who is always within the community, helping everywhere. And this is a man who, you make him a minister, there's nothing you make him in Nigeria that he's not going to perform, because he's done very well here. But if he goes to Nigeria, it's very, very likely not to be given the kind of attention that he needs, on the basis that he's coming from the diaspora. And I've seen it happen so many times. Now, I can give you examples. We used to have a group called Nigerian Project in the past, and one of our leaders, he's got almost anything you want in a leader. Went to Nigeria, tried to run for elections, and he could not even become, get into a House of Assembly. Whereas some of our younger ones, who are just a bit connected, were then given. So these are the sort of things that we want to fight against. We want to galvanize the Nigerian community in the UK to start to speak with the same voice. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to. I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party now because of Kano. I don't want to be seen as biased or anything. But what I want to do is I want to be able to talk to PDP and APC and APGA and all the different groups and say, look, let us stand together as diasporans, and let us go to Nigeria and take our programs to the government and even to the political parties. During the next elections, we have plans. We're going to be looking at every single political party. We will look at all the plans they have for Nigeria. We will interview them through a sort of platform we're putting together now. And we will assess them. When we are happy, we will go out and mobilize for the Nigerian community. And you know why we're going to be able to do it properly? Some of us have lived very, very transparent, credible life in this country. And I want to believe that these people that I'm talking about are credible voices. There are people that when they talk, people will listen in Nigeria. We want to be able to move the vote in a particular direction that pays Nigeria. But guess what? Everybody will be given the opportunity, all the chance to present what they have for Nigerians in diaspora. Because I see no reason why we cannot have senators from here on the basis of what the role that people have played in this place.
Do you think the voices of Nigerians here in the UK will be heard over there?
Yes, it will be heard. It will be heard if we do it properly. If we don't do it properly, it will not be heard. But if we do it properly, if it's well coordinated, I'll give you an example. If I gather, well, not me, if we gather ourselves together, those of us who are in the leadership of the community, whether you are in Nido or you are in Kanuk or you are PDP, and we all stand firm, and we go to the Nigerian community and we start to say, on the basis of this, on the basis of that, we think this is the party that will serve your interest. please vote, and we mobilize the youth, we mobilize the youth, mobilize market women, and make sure that vote moves in a particular direction. We can do it. The diaspora can change things in Nigeria.
I know the diasporas can change things.
We can.
Yeah. But because majority of the people who are voting,
yes,
who are in the grassroots in Nigeria, are the ones that matter to these politicians and matters to them.
And again,
so they don't really focus more on the diasporans. Exactly. They say, what are they going to offer?
Apart from that, we've had people from the diaspora, you know, participating in politics back home. Some of them have not done really well, which is having a very negative effect on diasporans here.
It's the same question that somebody asked me the other day.
So how do we wash that image?
Okay, this is the way I answer them when they ask me. The other day somebody said to me, oh, you diasporans, why do you keep saying that you can transform? You can't transform anything. After all, what about this? What about? And they gave me about 4 different examples, which is true. But tell me, those guys that they mentioned, where did they come from in the diaspora? Have you bothered to look at what they were doing? Have you bothered to look at their antecedents? So I'm talking about people who suddenly left the UK. Maybe you look at their history, even in the UK, they contributed nothing where they were living. But suddenly, because they were able to manipulate, they were able to play the game the way they do it in Nigeria. I know somebody who is highly placed in Nigeria now, got into elective office by also carrying AK-47. He also bought, and he said to us, he said, look, whatever it takes, I will also get there. And what all he did was that he had enough money to also get his own talks. So people like this, they did nothing when they were here, but they wanted power in Nigeria. Those are the ones that give us bad names. But there are diasporans who, in this community, I want to believe that if I want to run for an election in Nigeria, there are people in the diaspora that will put in a voice for me. And so we know Bimbo. Oh, after all, Bimbo was, doing this when he was in the UK. So, but when you look at the history in Nigeria, how many of such people do you have? Most of the diasporans that you hear in Nigerian politics, they were doing nothing.
So how does Kanu, where does Kanu come in that kind of situation? When you know people like that are going to run elective positions in Nigeria, and you know exactly what they do, they've not contributed nothing, when they were here, and we still allow them to be elected into office.
Kanuk is non-political, okay? So I cannot do that on the platform of Kanuk, really. Okay. That's the truth. Kanuk is non-religious, non-political, non-partisan at all. But I can do it on the basis that I'm Bimbo Folayan, chairman of Kanuk, in my own capacity. All I can do also is that don't forget that you cannot stop people from running elections, but you can influence how the vote goes. If, for example, there's going to be presidential election in Nigeria in 2015, and they present some folk from diaspora, of course, you can then campaign against him. That's all you can do. You can't even stop the political parties from nominating him. You can't, because that's the way, that's their process. But you can go in and say, on the basis of what we know about this person, we don't think he's the right person. But we're moving to that level. I think we will have our litmus test this 2015. We will see whether we can do it or not, but I've seen it happen before because I was an activist in the past. And I remember when CD, it was called Campaign for Democracy. Yeah. During the annulment of the election, I was in Lagos. And there was a time that CD announced that people should not go out. And nobody went out. It happened for a week. I was in Lagos. So it means that in Nigeria, that if people are credible, and that was led by Beko in those days, highly respected and regarded. So if we are squeaky clean from here, I want to believe that we will get to a level where there are people that, you asked me about a question about the appointment I got the other time.
Oh, I'm still coming to that.
Okay, I never knew them. It just called me from the blues. A lot of people will not believe this. So there are things that we get on the basis of what you are doing, the information is circulating. There are people hearing about 1 or 2 things you're doing. So we will get to a level where some leaders in the UK will go out and say, this is what we want in Nigeria, and they'll be able to push it forward because the masses in Nigeria who have heard so much about them will listen to them.
So that brings me to that question about your appointment. You've just been appointed as a member of the International Advisory Committee in the Office of the Special Advisor to Mr. President on Ethics and Values. What exactly does this role entail? And is this an office-based appointment?
Okay, no.
When are you going to resume? No.
No. It's just it's a voluntary role too.
All
It's just an advisory role. It is nothing. It's not office based. I'll be in the UK, but what if federal government is trying to do through the Office of the Special Advisor to Mr. President on Ethics and Values is to pick some individuals internationally and then set up an international advisory council. These individuals will then advise that office on ethics and value. This is an area that I'm seriously in love with because I believe that majority, I would say that about 70% of our problems are ethical problems in Nigeria, but we keep scratching the surface. So when I was appointed, I just got somebody just contacted me, the international coordinator, Dr. Jogo, just contacted me and said, "Oh, Bimbo, would you please accept this role to come on board this committee?" And I said yes. I'll be very happy to play a role because this is merely to advise the government. It is not some office appointment. It is not some paid salary. Even that I'm getting tired of.
I hope you're not going to be dipping your hands into your pockets.
I've told them. I said I will not dip my hands into my pocket again. That's what I said to them. I said I'm not dipping my hands into. I've done enough of my dipping of hands into the pocket for Nigeria. So I've made that very clear. Okay. So if there are activities, they will have to be funded by this office. Yeah.
So as a KANOK chair, what plans have you got for those of us who might be interested in returning back home? What sort of support do you give to people like that?
We've started a program called NDDIS, Nigerian Diaspora Direct Investment Summit, and we had the first one in June. You were there.
I was there, yeah.
And what was your impression of it?
Well, it was good.
It was excellent. Yeah. A lot of people tell me that this is so well organized.
It was.
Let me tell you what happened. 3 weeks after the event, I went to Bayelsa State, and I went to a restaurant in Yenagoa. And as soon as I entered, I saw a Nigerian guy, apparently from the UK, and he said, "Oh, hello, Mr. Falai," and he was greeting me. I didn't know this guy, but he was surrounded by 6 English men. And I said, "No, I can't remember you." And he said, "No, I was at your summit 3 weeks ago. And it was because of those people you brought from Nigeria that I was able to now bring these investors to Nigeria." And he was thanking me. And the Commissioner for Trade and Investment was with me. The SSA to the Governor on Investment was also with me at the restaurant. And I said to them, "You didn't tell me that these guys are already coming to," and they are laughing. They said, "Oh, we have a lot of people coming here now." So in Kaduna, in Oyo, in Bayelsa State, we've had a lot of people on the strength of the summit that we had that are now going back to Nigeria. Now, let me also mention this, because a lot of people may not even know that the High Commissioner, Dr. Tafida, is actually the power behind this initiative. It was our own initiative. We took it to him, and he fell in love with it, and then wrote letters to a lot of governors in Nigeria, and now everybody is saying they want to be part of it. It is a bridge to enable Nigerians who live in the UK, who want to go back to Nigeria, to either resettle, or those who want to simply stay in the UK and have their businesses in Nigeria. It's a bridge, it's a platform that we've just created. And it's not an ordinary summit or talk show. If you remember, when we had that summit, we had deal rooms.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So
the deal rooms, as you're making all the speeches, some commissioners are sitting in the rooms, and then we give you appointments to go and sit down with them. You take your projects to them, you pitch your project, and then deals are being signed. So I'm feeling on top of the world now because a lot of people are relocating back to Nigeria just because of what we're doing. We have the second edition coming up in April, on April 10 and 11th this year.
Okay.
And already states are already struggling to be part of it. And this one is going to be focused on the mining sector. So why are we going into the mining sector? A lot of people that live in the diaspora complain to me that I'm also a big boy, I want to play a part in the oil sector in Nigeria. And then we say to them that, look, why don't we go and develop something of our own? Because the real big boys in Lagos are the ones doing the oil. So the plan now is to turn our mining sector into the next oil. Oil, money generating, venture in Nigeria. So that's what we're planning. We're planning a major big one for April. So this will be twice in a year, and it will enable Nigerians to relocate back home.
Okay, what are your final words to our teaming viewers, Nigerians who are watching you at the minute?
I want to, first of all, encourage Nigerians to know that Kano is the central association of Nigerians in the UK. It's the umbrella body of all Nigerians that live in this country. It's your body, it's your organization. It doesn't belong to Bimbo Fola. You only have a limited number of time. Every Nigerian that lives in this country have the right to become an executive member of Kano. It is our own body. We need to start thinking about our children. My children were born, raised, and in this country. And I don't know whether they want to go to Nigeria. So we need to make this country as fantastic as possible for the ethnic minority, for Nigerians that live in this country. So we need to work together. This is the only platform we have that belongs to everybody. So please, you are invited. Go to our website, www.canuk.org.uk. That's www.canuk.org.uk. Find a way to register. Please, let's mobilize our children. They are the new kids on the block. They are doing better than we have ever done. We need to work together as one community. Let's collaborate. If there are things that you need to encourage, to complain about, check us out. Go to our website. Complain. We will listen to you. And I reach out to people on a regular basis. Please talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Falaya. It's been a blessing. It's been my delight to have you, on this show tonight. And I'm sure many of our viewers who are Nigerians have, learned one or two things from our discussion tonight. We just sincerely thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Bisoye, thank you as much. Thank you ever so much. You're always there for me. So, well, that's about it on tonight's edition of Point Blank. We do sincerely thank you for staying tuned to us. We'll be back same time next week for another interesting edition of the program. Till then, it's good night.